I just realized my life was built on a lie I can't undo. The craziest thing I've ever discovered. My entire life I've been living in a house that wasn't mine. I grew up thinking my parents bought this house, paid the mortgage, everything. Standard story, right? But last week I was helping them clean the garage and found a set of old bank documents, dusty, faded, completely hidden. I flipped the first page. It wasn't their name, not anywhere. I laughed at first. Okay, this must be some old mistake. I mean, a title from 20 years ago, how bad could it be? But then I saw it. The house was technically owned by someone else. Someone who had never sold it. And it got worse. I started digging, tracing property records, old deeds, even obscure court filings. Every document said the same thing. The house had been under a legal dispute for decades. My parents had been living there rent-free, unknowingly. I confronted my dad. Wait, are you telling me we never owned this house? He shrugged, like it wasn't a big deal. We figured it out years ago, but we thought the paperwork would sort itself out eventually. I didn't believe him. It didn't make sense. How could every utility bill, every tax record, every repair bill, all in our name be valid if the house wasn't ours? Then I found something even worse. The original owner's heirs were alive, and they were pissed. One of them had been tracking the property for years, just waiting for someone to slip up. And guess what? They had. 2 days later, lawyers showed up at the door. I watched as a stranger walked into my living room and said, "This house is ours. You need to move." Everything my parents worked for, my childhood, my teenage years, everything I thought was safe, suddenly didn't exist. It turns out my parents never checked the full history of the property. They didn't commit fraud. They weren't being malicious. They just assumed the papers were correct. But decades of legal oversight and a missing signature meant that all the ownership had legally stayed with someone else. We were given a choice: pay a 6-figure settlement to stay or move. I spent my whole life thinking I belonged here, and in an instant, I didn't. The lesson? Sometimes the life you think is real is just a mistake waiting to be discovered.